Hello and welcome to Turkish Grammar Lessons with YouTalk. Now today we're going to learn how to ask someone whether they're married or not, because let's think about it. If you're traveling, you're going around the world, you meet new people, why not ask, are you married? And how do you say, I am married, I am not married, you are married, he is, she is, etc., etc. And the thing is, why are there two words for you in Turkish? Let's take a look. Now, if you're asking a young lady, are you married? Here's how you say it.
Evli misin?
Evli misin?
Now, when she replies, yes, I'm married, I am married in Turkish is
Evliyim.
Evliyim.
and I am not married is
Evli değilim.
Evli değilim.
Let's see how these words come together and what they're made of. Meet Fred and Lisa. Fred and Lisa are a pair of monsters. Now, Fred has a crush on Lisa, and he loves her, and he says, she is beautiful. Now, in English, you have three words. She is beautiful. And that's because, Fred is an English-speaking monster. Now, what if you want to say it in other languages? Do they do the same thing? The answer is no. For example, in some languages, like Malay and Indonesian, you say, dia cantik, she beautiful. You don't need to have is in it. And the same with Russian, она красивая. Она красивая is she beautiful, literally, in Russian. And so there is no need for is or are or am or whatever that we have in English. The same in Tagalog. When in Tagalog has a different sort of word order, you say maganda siya. So beautiful she. You could also say she is beautiful, siya ay maganda, but that's more formal. So maganda siya would be more casual Tagalog, and you hear it very often. And this is just one way to say this. Different languages have different ways of saying a statement like she is beautiful. For example, French has the exact same construction like in English. Elle est belle, she is beautiful. So does Urdu, except Urdu, the word is comes right at the end. So it's wo khoobsurat hai, wo khoobsurat hai. Meanwhile, in Scottish Gaelic, the word for is comes at the front, hai boyach. So the ha is actually is she beautiful. And then we've got other languages such as Chinese, which does things completely differently. In Chinese, 她很漂亮, she very beautiful. But in this case, the word very isn't actually important here. It just serves to link these two phrases together. Meanwhile, in Turkish, the way to say it is o güzel, she beautiful. Well, o means she, he, it, that. And so it's a very multi-purpose word in Turkish. But in this context, it means she. So she beautiful. However, this is for she, or he, or it, or güzel. If you want to say I am beautiful, they are beautiful, you have to use slightly different forms. And we'll take a look at how these come together. All right, so this is o güzel. Now, imagine if in ancient Istanbul, a long time ago, Ayhan Bey came across the beautiful Peride Hanım. And he told her, he says, oh my God, you're so beautiful. And he tells her, you are very beautiful. And then she says, I'm married. Okay, now we'll see how these words come together, right? So you are very beautiful and I am married. In English, you require the words are and am to connect the ideas together. You are very beautiful. You can't say you very beautiful. Turkish is only, for example, you are very beautiful is only three words. Siz çok güzelsiniz. Right? So you, very beautiful, you are. So I will look at how this construction came about. The same for ben evliyim, which means I am married. Okay, be careful because in English you use three words. I am married. In Turkish it's only two words. Ben evliyim, and then we'll see how these are formed. Now, let's look at the structure. Okay, so now if we look carefully, you have the sentence is made out of at least like 4 or 5 different parts, 4 parts in this case. Siz is you, but it's only used when you're talking to someone you respect. So it's for example, Mr. So-and-so, Mrs. So-and-so, you would use siz. But also to a group of people. When you're talking to 2 people, 3 or more, you have to say siz for you, all right? Çok means very much, a lot, many, very. And it's a very useful word in Turkish. You learn çok and you can use it in any sort of descriptive sentence. So the next word that joins this idea, very what? Very beautiful. So you, very beautiful, are. You can see, of course, the are here is siniz. All right. The same thing with I am married. So ben evliyim. Ben evliyim. So ben is I, evli is married. It comes from the word for house. Ev is house, evli is, to have a house, to be householded, to be married. And im is I am. But there's a little connector here, yim, that connects them, because in Turkish it's very difficult to pronounce when you have like two vowels together. Evli im. It doesn't make sense. So Turkish being a very smooth language, you need to just make it run together. So evliyim. And this happens all the time in Turkish. But let's take a look at more examples. Okay, now, the very first thing we have to remember is that the verb to be, in fact, mentions or in fact explains the fact that a certain idea is connected to another idea. So to be or not to be. I am a blah, blah, blah. You are blah, blah, blah. So how does Turkish do it? If Shakespeare, Mr. Shakespeare, were Turkish, he would say olmak ya da olmamak, like this. So olmak means to be, yada is or, and olmamak is not to be, negative. And we'll see how these are broken down. So let's look at the two verbs, olmak, olmamak. And so the mak is the infinitive ending. It serves just to tell that this is like the base form. In a dictionary, when you look at a verb in dictionary, it always has mak or mik at the end. And the ma in this case is the negative, and then the ol is the idea, the main idea. In this case, to be, to exist, to be in a certain form or shape or condition. So to be, and then you have the mak, which is the infinitive suffix, and the ma, which is the negative. We'll learn about this later on, how to say no, or I do not do something, or I did not do something in Turkish. Or don't do something. In this case, the ma will appear in different forms, but we'll take a look at this later on. Okay, so to be or not to be. Now, once we know how to say olmak, then we have to change it in order to suit the sentence. And the change, there are many, many changes that happen here in Turkish. So, if we look at I am an old man, I'll give an example. It's a sentence like this: I am an old man. You have to change it first to the word order. It's different in English. You have to say I, old, and man am. And we'll go along, we'll talk about this structure. Literally is ben yaşlı bir adamım. Okay, ben yaşlı bir adamım. So I, old, bir means or one or an. Adam is man, and the at the end is I am. And be careful that there are two I sounds in Turkish. There's the I, which is an I with a dot, and the U, which doesn't have the dot. And we'll look at this as we go along. So English will be IMX. Turkish uses the IXM, and then the M will join at the end to the main idea, the word, in this case Adam. Okay, and then it changes to suit the sound of it. So Turkish has a structure called vowel harmony, a system of basically changing vowels so that they suit the phonetics of the word. And we'll take a look at the examples. So let's see. So the basic pronouns, the words for he, she, it, there are only 6 of them in Turkish, so you don't have to remember everything. It's not as complicated as in, say, French or in Russian. There are only 6 forms. So I is ban, you is san. So he, she, it, or that, the one in yellow is o, and that's it. That's all you have to remember. Very easy. We is biz, you all. That's for talking with 2 or more people. Or it can be used when speaking to one person to show respect. So siz, you. And they is onlar. And these are all the 6 forms. That's all you need to know. That's it. Now then, the verb to be olmak, when it's joined with all this and it used to connect this idea with some type of description, then it becomes a bit more complicated. So there are different suffixes depending on how to say I am, you are, he or she, it is, we are, you all are, or they are. They're different forms. You have to remember though is that, I'm just going to move my cursor around here, the im form here, and these are all part of the system of vowel harmony, and they change the letter, whether it's I, U, or U, depending on the vowel of the previous word, whatever it is. And we'll take a look at more examples, but I'll do a dedicated video to explain this quite interesting concept. It's not very difficult. It just takes a bit of intuition, but the concept is actually quite easy. And for some suffixes like the lersh and larsh, which are used to show plural, they have only 2 forms. And so we'll take a look at some examples right now. So if this creature wants to say, I am purple, he says, ben morum. Mor is the word for purple. So ben is I, purple, am, morum. With the at the end, because of the sound mor has a rounded sound. And we'll look at more examples as we go along. So now, this is how you say I am, ban, blah, blah, blah. How do you say you are? You are is san, something, sin, sun, sin, sun, depending on the next, the previous sound, whatever it is. So, for example, you are a fish. Sen bir balıksın. Sen bir balıksın. So you a fish are. You a fish are. That's basically how I say it. So you notice that the I here is not sin, it's sin, because of the balık has the at the end, so that's a vowel harmony. And again, I'll do a dedicated video just to explain this concept. Now, let's go back to how do you say he or she or it is something? Well, simple. Or blah blah blah. Remember we said she is beautiful or güzel. That's it. That's all you need. So you can tell a person about the dragon or yeşil. She is green or the dragon is green. Ejderha yeşil. That's it. You can say that, and that's all you need for he or she or it. Right? Now let's go back to the others. Now, for the plural form, we, biz, again, the same thing. You put is, uz, uz at the end just to show that something, we are something, right? So, for example, we are married. Biz evliyiz. So, you see the word biz is we, evli is married, yiz, we are married. That's it. All right, very, very easy for now. And again, you see the same concept as we talked about. You don't say evli is, you say evliyiz. You put the Y in some places just to make it smoother, so it runs on your tongue smoothly. Biz evliyiz. Okay, now let's look at the other examples. Now, if you want to say you all, again, this column here, siz, sinis, sunus, sinis, sunus. And that's where you have, for example, you are monsters, siz canavarsınız. All right, you are monsters. So canavar is monster, canavar, and then when you combine them together, siz canavarsınız. You monsters are. Now, bear in mind that in Turkish, all the pronouns, the ben, sen, siz, biz, etc., can be dropped. You can just say canavarsınız if it's understood. It's a lot more flexible than English, so you don't have to say you and me all the time. You can just say evliyim, like in the example, evliyim, I'm married. Okay, you don't have to say ben evliyim. Now, let's look at the other example. And the final one, onlar, which is they. So you can say onlar çok tatlı. They very. Remember we learned about the very, the çok at the middle here, the word very. Tatlı means cute or sweet, so they are very cute. They very cute. You don't need to have anything at the end. In some contexts you can say onlar çok tatlılar, but in spoken Turkish you don't really need it. Just say they very cute. That's it. And finally, so we'll talk about this in the next lesson, how to make something negative, right? We talked about the ma form, but in the negative form, to be, there's a specific form. So, ben morum, I am purple. If you want to say, I am not purple, how do you say that? Well, ben mor değilim. So, ben mor değilim. And we'll talk about this later on, how to create the negative of the at the end here. Why it becomes değilim, I, purple, am not, and why this happens. Okay, so we'll talk about these in the next lessons. And, well, if you're interested, keep on watching, and goodbye for now.